Hello, YouTube. Um, I already said I need to say less. Does anyone have any tips? I think I need to lose like social acuity so that I don't so that I don't make moments feel awkward when I'm silent. Like when I'm not talking, I say so that I can like be less awkward or feel less awkward. But if I never feel awkward, I can just not say anything. Do you guys prefer this method of speaking? Anyways, this is game two of the word cup. So let's actually put the thing up this time. The word cup, here it is. Congratulations. I didn't totally screw up this video yet. And I'm playing Trip Payne for the first time. Trip Payne's a very strong expert player that I've known of for a while. Never got the chance to play. And here we are. So Trip provided two of his racks this game, his first two racks, because he made two plays in a row that were, I guess, worth talking about after the game. So this first rack is all consonants with a blank. He exchanged down to ST blank, which seems very good. BLS blank seems interesting. Maybe BST blank as well. I didn't put that in there. Just S blank. These are all extremely close. But notice how keeping the more bingo heavy leave of LST blank is a slight, I guess, fall off. What's the word? Slight. There's some expression of it's a bit lower. Anyways, if someone in the comments knows what I'm trying to say, it usually is actually when I'm streaming. People usually know what I'm trying to say, which is really cool. Um, but if you look at our next turn, and we are Trip in this position, highest bigger bingo percentage is exchange BLW. Second highest, interestingly, is BLTW, keeping LS blank. People often don't think about keeping an L instead of a T or an R or an N because usually the T, the R, and the N are better. But with the S, the L is extremely strong, and it's worth thinking about, especially when there's a higher risk of duplication for the N, the R, and the T, since there are six of each of those in the tile distribution and only four L's. So often I've noticed trends where keeping an L instead of a T or an N or an R performs very well, sometimes better than keeping the other three normally stronger tiles. That's just because of that usually is because of duplication. But yeah, so it says that exchanging three tiles does bingo the most. Exchanging BLW, keeping LST blank, that is the best bingo leave. However, it's also risky. There's a risk of things going poorly for you. If you draw three more consonants, for example, which happens around. So there are or how many possibilities are there? You draw three consonants, two vowels, one consonant, one vowel, two consonants, and wait, three consonants, two consonants, one vowel, one consonant, two vowels, and three vowels. So those are the four possibilities. I guess we're not really counting Y's and blanks in here. So that accounts for around 100% of your draws. And the constant draws, the three constant draw is, I think that happens 25. I don't know if I'm doing the math right, but like a quarter of the time, or some large amount of the time, like maybe even up to 20%, maybe a bit less, you're drawing three consonants again, which is not what you want. So to avoid that, you exchange four letters and keep two consonants. And that is what Trip did. So let's move on. If you guys followed my Albany games, you know that there is a word. You maybe know that there is a word in this rack that I missed in a key position against Max Panich to go ahead and lose to him. And that word is Jehu, which means a coachman, especially one who drives at a rattling pace. I don't know what that means. I think it Might have something to do with like rodeo or um, I don't know. Anyways, I played Jehu, and I don't remember if I played 4-8, 4-8, 7, 16, 6, 7, 15. I think I played Jehu here. Pretty sure that's what happened. Yeah. And this is a very odd placement. I want to simulate it. The reason I played Jehu where I played it, uh, instead of the more traditional spot that creates an S hook, is because A, it creates an S hook, B, creates a lane ending in E. So for leaves that are slightly better than average, or somewhat significantly better than average, which I can assume Trip has after exchanging 4, he's keeping 3 tiles he wants to keep. So yeah, those tiles could be very, very good, like ST blank. They could be okay, like ENR, or something. I I don't want to. There are two things I don't want to do: create this bingo lane ending in E and create this S hook that he can utilize. So I consider playing something like this. Usually this is wrong because I'm just giving back a really nice uh, play from the J, and he could also even double double. But I think in this position it's worth doing because his leave is slightly more bingo heavy. You do notice that opponent next turn after 8E, Jehu has an average score of 1.5 points more than the other Jehu, but I don't actually think that's accurate in this particular instance. So, anyways, worth talking about. And the draw that Tripp wanted to tell me about, why he told me his first rack, is he drew IIIU, which is a terrible, terrible draw to his ST blank. You saw that he was bingoing 8 out of 10 times around, and he is definitely not bingoing with this rack. So he actually exchanged 4 again. I think that he probably should have kept another I here, but it's definitely really, really close. And I totally understand why he wants to throw all of them back in the bag. He doesn't want to see those eyes. But yeah, so he exchanged 4 again, keeping ST blank. And my rack was this. And this was a weird turn. I have many plays I can make with the Q on this turn because I have a U to play through. So quag, quoit, quota, quarto, all very good plays. However, again, I make a sacrifice, but this time it's an even bigger sacrifice on getting rid of the Q. Usually you just want to get rid of the Q always and not even think about it anymore. But here I played Gyro, which you can see is 3.4 points back in valuation behind Quag, which I would say is the best. It's the best Q play. So actually, let's just put Gyro and Quag in there in the simulation and see how they perform. And the reason I played Gyro and not getting rid of the Q immediately is because I thought that there was a nice likelihood that I would be able to play Cat at H1 next turn if Trip doesn't play in this spot with the G and the I, where I thought again he was close to a bingo, and most likely he would either bingo maybe through this E to this E, or hooking Jehus or hooking JO with like a T or an E or something. So I thought it was pretty likely that I would get my Q spot here. Now, also, if Trip does play through the I and the G, I still have this U that I can use, but also he might give me another spot for Cat. So a QAT leave isn't the worst thing for a Q, but usually you want to get rid of your Q, just not in this particular instance, I think. So Gyro comes down, and Trip thinks for a very long time and comes up with Sodomist for 59. And the only better bingo here is Disroots for 7 more points. Of course, it's a bit less, it's a bit more dangerous than Sodomist because it floats an S out there. So it does give me a lot of points in return, but I don't think it gives me 7 points. But yeah, he took a long time, played Sodomist. Good find for sure. I think it's harder to find this than Disroots. And he finally scores. He's finally on the scoreboard, 59-43. And so he does block my Cat spot, but able to draw an I, so I'm able to play QI for 26 and get rid of my Q finally. So, next move is Vo for 14. I no longer have Trips racks, but it was interesting to talk about his first 2 racks there, and his first 3 racks. I draw 2 more vowels here, and I play Pita because, I mean, just scoring points, there's not much that can really happen on this board at the moment. Like, if Trip bingos, I might be in bad shape, but taking points now is pretty good, taking away the scoring spot. AEI can improve if I draw a few consonants, so it seems like taking the points looks good. Trip plays Ama for 17, and I draw 2 consonants, which is to be expected, and very sadly, I cannot play U into Ite. So instead of that, I just, oh, that's a good play. I didn't see that play. I play PU. Now, I was not happy with this play at all, of course, because it scores 7 points, leaves 3 vowels, 2 consonants, and opens a triple. However, this triple isn't that dangerous. So I was happy to play that over TUI, and Etui, yeah, Agu is bad. But yeah, here, I'm wondering if Guinea is a good play. The problem with Guinea is after he takes the triple, I'm not really sure what I'm doing. And yeah, I don't know. I played PU because I thought he just played off an M. The M's the likeliest tile to hurt me in this spot. He could, of course, have an X, and I've just given him a lot of points for it. And he could have an N. But those are the tiles that hook the U. There really aren't that many. And I have an N in hand, and if he manages to hook with an N, probably not scoring that many points because not many words start with N. So I'm probably not scoring much there either, but I felt like I was likelier to hit the spot than him. But I think I should just take the points with Guinea here and not fish. I didn't see that. So I'm going to put 2i Guinea, looks best. Looks like the play here. So yeah, usually you don't want to fish, and this is another example of that. So, PU comes down. It's seeming really close with all these 3 plays. So I'm okay with PU. Just missed Skinny. And Trip does have an N, but look, he's only scoring 14 points, and he's trying to take away the triple, which makes sense. And I draw into a bingo of inedita, but I did not think vanitied was a word. Wow. I saw vanitied, and I didn't think it was a word. That is a better play. Inedita is not correct because it opens a huge triple and a double-double. Look at this. It opens this triple and this double-double at the same time. So I'm not even going to simulate this. Yeah, chickened out. So this is probably like a 5-point mistake. Not playing vanity. I was very unhappy with playing Inedita. He could just triple, or double or double through this. E is just insanely open. And luckily, Trip does not do any of those things. He plays a ledge for 24. And I draw into this rack, and I'm up 36 points. And I see what looks to be a possible word, but it doesn't look super familiar. Then when I think about it, it makes a lot of sense, and I play it. So here I phonied with packful. Packful is not a word, and Trip holds the play, considers for a few seconds, then says okay. And normally that would mean to me, like very quickly, like that I'm good, that I'm safe, but it's also possible in my head that he's accepted reluctantly because I've given him a triple. But again, luckily for me, that doesn't that bad case scenario does not occur. Trip plays cider, and now I'm up 100 points, feeling really, really good. So I just got away with the phony, and fortunately, Trip blocked my bingo of LU8s, double, but I didn't deserve that anyway. Actually, that wasn't my, sorry, that wasn't my rack. Yeah, this was my rack. So once again, I have the choice of fishing with a really bingo prone leave. Way more bingo prone than the AEINT of PIU. But instead, I decide that this score, I should be a bit more careful. And so I start considering these three plays. And so I look at the, to differentiate between the LU8 and LUant plays. It's not really a big deal that I'm giving this E here as a scoring spot or even as a bingo. There are 7 letters that can go here. The only, I think, major difference between the play of LU8 and LUant is the vowel to consonant ratio. So I count and I count and I count 13 vowels unseen versus over 20 consonants. And I'm like, okay, that makes my decision a lot easier. I'm going to play LUant over LU8. Then I'm looking at ulna and I'm like, you know what? Let's go for LUant. Even though it does take an S, I'm creating a bingo lane at G9. It's not a good bingo lane, and I already have an S. And it's early in the tournament, so I want to win by a lot. So instead of playing ulna, which might win a couple more games than LUant does, I decided to play LUant because I'm not winning more games, but the games I'm winning, I'm hopefully winning by a bit more than if I play defensively with ulna, because I'm drawing into some bingos that will play. And this is what's called spread building, and it's a useful thing to do at the beginning of a tournament. Instead of taking, like, in certain circumstances, you have a play that probably is very defensive and probably wins some more games. You make a play that could lose you the game in a couple of scenarios. I'm saying a couple. I mean, there are so many iterations of this game at this point. It's impossible to even calculate, but I guess percentage-wise, I'm giving up some winning chances just to build up my spread. So LUant comes down, and firing is the response. I trip, and let's see what I drew. I drew a lot of vowels, and normally I would be not so happy about this, but I know how few vowels are left now. Now he's played 2 vowels. Now there are 7 unseen vowels out of 27 tiles. And I'm just like, okay, this is like very, very good for me. So I could play Kiev, but I decided to play V. Very likely to draw 3 consonants and potentially bingo. I think the only question is whether I should play Vo. I could even play Eve, but no need to do that. If I'm gonna bingo, I'll just bingo here. But Eve might actually just be a good play for spread. But at this point, I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna take the win now. So let's look at the difference between V and Vo. And I always get these wrong. Keeping E and O versus keeping E and E, always very, very close. And yeah, I rely on a Quackle simulation to tell me which is better. So we're gonna wait a few iterations. I wonder if I should have played Eve. It's following the same sort of principle as LUant. It's like I could be more defensive, but why not create another bingo lane? And I think my reasoning was just that now I have the S, and there's already this bingo lane here. Like, you don't even have to end in S. So you could just start at G8 and finish here. And so the S, I don't know, the S line isn't actually, the S line is kind of just superfluous, I think. So actually, I don't know if I thought about that in the game. But all right, we're at around 2,000 iterations, seem really close. Right now, my candidate play is ahead, and I'm going to stop the simulation because I want to protect myself from being wrong. Of course, I should simulate this up to at least 3,000 iterations to give myself a good idea of which play is better. But I played V, and what happens now? Trip plays OD for 8. Where was this? OD for 8. Where did he play this? OD for 8. No, that wasn't it. Was it? Huh. Yeah, I guess he did play that. Okay. My bad. Yeah, I remember this now. He played OD here, which seems like a weird play, but it makes sense. He's trying to create another bingo lane, and like this part of the board is sort of shut off. So yeah, it's a play that makes sense. Just looks kind of weird. It's also pretty easy to block. I draw another vowel, which is like, okay, like this is overkill. And I play Rue. I'm not actually blocking. Like there's this end lane now that exists. I could block more effectively if I wanted to, but I don't care at this point. I just want to bingo again, and I'm up 113 points. And he's not bingoing twice, almost ever with these letters, I thought. But it's still possible. I could still lose. And now here's a play that happens here, and bam. And normally I wouldn't be worried about this play. It's just like, okay, bam for 22, just score some points. But I have to mention to you guys, potentially if there are any young children watching, that the Word Cup was played using the NWL 18 lexicon, so pre-word expurgation, pre-slurs being banned from the game, which means that all of the slurs that were removed for the NWL 2020 dictionary are still in this dictionary. And so the difference in the NWL 18 and the NWL 2020 dictionary with this play is massive because an A goes on the BO in NWL 2018. So I was aware of this. This was the first time I was using this lexicon in a very long time, but I have been playing with ABO for, I guess, a long time. Like I think ever since I started playing, I think that was a word. So, yeah, I was aware that this was setting up an A, and there could be some huge plays here. So I'm like, okay, nice play. That's a bit tough. And I draw into this rack. Of course. What do you mean? I drew into this rack. Why is it saying I can't have this rack? What? Was there a problem with... How is this possible? Why can't I have this rack? That's so funny. There aren't two eyes in this set. Was the set wrong? Like where could there possibly have been a mistake? Maybe he played fairing? No, he didn't do that. This is super weird, guys. There might have been a problem with the tile set because I have no idea how it's possible that there's only one eye left. No clue. So I'm going to have to just play it out, I think. Is it possible he played fairing instead of firing? I played V for 23. Oh, no, okay. Yeah, I'm dumb. He played firing here. No. He played firing here. Figured it out. We did it. Let's change everything. 8, 11. So there's no Vo to even think about. I played V here. And interestingly, this word is available now, so he could have a big bingo there. Okay. But now the play of OD makes less sense. Anyways, he plays OD. I play Rue. He plays Bam. I have this rack. I should have just looked at the score that I had. So I saw this word Hyres. I think maybe I didn't see this. This is probably the play. And I saw Reishi. I was like, okay, I'm not hitting my bingo. Like, why am I not hitting my bingo? And now I'm sort of worried of a big play that he could have with firings. I think I just missed Hyries, which is really funny. This is a really funny play. Hyries and firings. That's like two opposites that go very well together. Okay. Anyways, I played Raishi. I think Hyries is maybe better. But yeah, I'm worried about big bingos here using an A. I'm worried about big bingos using firings. So I just give up on the fishing excursion. And Bay is the play by Trip. And something hilarious happens here. I have this rack, and I get to use a slur to score 1,000,000,000 points. So I play Wares for 77. It's just really funny that for such a long time, I wasn't. This wasn't a word, ABO, and now I can play it again in this weird world we live in and score 77 points. So I thought that was hilarious. Whereas keeping WX empties the bag. Of course, there were some bingos, I think, like talents. If the C is in the bag, he has talents in multiple spots, and he has cattles if the N is in the bag. But of course, what was in the bag? Um, was it the L? Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, the L was in the bag, and now he has this rack, and it doesn't have a bingo on it. So he plays in acts, which is the best play, and I play not the best play. I keep missing this word, WHA. Wow, really bad. All right, G6 owl. So yeah, my endgame sucks as usual. I play XI. He plays he plays Roost, even better. And I win 443 to 287. Finally, finish this game. Sorry about that mistake earlier in the annotation with firing. Yeah, so that was game two. Pretty good win for me, but it all happened because of Packful. If Trip had challenged Packful, which he was wont to do, Packful was putting me up by was doubling his score, putting me up by 130 points. It's extremely hard to come back if you don't have a triple. So he just liked the word and I liked the word, and double whammy. And I end up winning by a whole lot. So yeah, thanks for watching as usual, and I'll catch you guys on round 3.